Well, good evening, folks, and PJ Net is on the air. I'm Coach Prasick, and it is my pleasure to introduce every month, or to bring you every month, Andy Clapp, all the way from North Carolina. And I've got some notes here. I was doing some recon. I don't know if we'll be able to get all this in or not, Andy, but you're pretty short in your sermons. Maybe we can make this in 20 minutes. But I wanted to start out with the Angel Book Awards. I see that you and your Michelle's book, which I have read, made not third place, not second place, but first place. What is the Angel Book Awards?
The Angel Book Awards is another book contest that we were very excited to be entered into, and honestly, just a place would have been an honor. But to win first place, I'm telling you, the credit goes to Michelle. But I'm lucky that I get to to be a part of it because honestly, she is stellar at what she does, and she took me along for the ride on this one, allowed me to be a part of it, and we're just thankful. We won first place. That's two contests we've been in, and we've won both of them by the grace of God. And it's just an honor, to be honest with you, Coach. Even to ever be recognized for anything you do is an honor, and being recognized like that is just a huge honor for me and for her. She sent me the text just a little bit ago where the award came in, and it's a beautiful award. But yeah, it was very exciting.
Well, it's a good
Extremely
book
exciting.
too. I can personally tell you, at first I was, because it's, well, the price. I mean, it was just like, gosh.
Mm.
But then I realized, first of all, when I got it, this is a hard cover book with glossy, full process color images. But most
Yeah,
importantly, it's actually a good value. There's 90 devotions in that book, where many books priced just a few dollars less have 30, 45, 40, maybe even
yeah,
52. But no, yours has 90. So actually, it's a very good value and makes a very good gift. It's even got, I have a bookmark thingy. What do you call it?
yeah,
Bookmark. You know what I'm talking about. Well, this book has its own bookmark. It's got the little ribbon,
yeah,
I thought, what,
yeah.
you,
I thought it was really neat how they did that, how they put
it's
that in there.
it's well
I was,
produced.
oh, they did an incredible job. Skyhorse did just an incredible job of that, and Amber Wieglin Buckley, I think is how you pronounce her last name. She did a great job on the design work of it, and it was a team effort, obviously. And I'm thankful. Like I said, I'm just thankful to be a part of it. To me, it's always I don't understand sometimes why God allows us opportunities. Like I don't deserve the opportunity to work with Michelle. I don't deserve that.
No,
But
you don't.
when you get that kind of opportunity, um, you just praise the Lord for it because that's amazing that you get such an opportunity. And now we've got another book coming out next year. She and I do, and I'm excited for that one too because again it's to get that opportunity to work with her is just
Hmm.
it's a thrill for me. I never would have thought it. I met her 7, 8 years ago, and I never thought that I would have the opportunity to do that. But it's pretty amazing.
What I liked about the book is it kind of showed a more personal side of the two authors, yourself and Michelle.
Yeah,
You all both have your game face. We all do.
yeah,
But
yeah,
in the book, it becomes a little. I kind of got to know Andy, the family man. The father, not
yeah.
just the pastor, not just the author. The guy on our program, but your kids and the things that make and your life growing up. I kind of felt like I got to know each of you a little bit at a different level. And
Absolutely. And wait till this next one. This next one is going to be you're going to get to see us what we're really like at Christmas, and both of us are insanely passionate about Christmas. And so this next one's going to be just like that too, because you get to see kind of some of the traditions that Michelle has and that our family has, and
mhm,
how we man we really deck the halls around here.
yeah. Well, that's another book, and
Hmm.
while we're on the subject of books, look above me, Florida
Yeah.
State Devotions. Now, you're a part of this, and
Yes.
what I gotta ask you. I know you're a Wake Forest fan, which is tough after last Saturday, but but and
Yeah.
I get it. Most people are fans of teams that they are either an alumnus of or nearby or both.
Right.
But FSU, what is your connection to FSU?
Okay, so growing up, I mean, obviously, yeah, I was a Wake fan my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
My father and my grandfather were Wake Forest fans, and so I was kind of raised in that tradition. I love the Deacs. But when the Noles entered the ACC in the early '90s, I was intrigued by the Noles, and then the more I got to know about Bobby Bowden, the more I became, if Wake Forest is my one,
Mm-hmm.
and then FSU is my 1A
Okay.
because I was just intrigued with Bobby Bowden and some of the players that he had. And then when I got to interview Bobby, it was breathtaking to say the least. And then I got a chance to interview Mark Richt, who had been the offensive coordinator under Bobby Bowden, and to hear Mark Richt talk about how Bobby Bowden's faith influenced his life. Mark Richt came to know the Lord
Mm-hmm.
through Bobby Bowden, and I
Exactly.
thought, wow, how cool is that? That here Bobby was the top. Him and Joe Paterno were the top of the
Mm-hmm.
college football world in the '80s and '90s, and I mean, I guess you throw Tom Osborne in there with them as well, but those three were really kind of the Mount Rushmore of college football in the '80s and '90s and early 2000s, and I had that, I got that chance to interview Bobby, and he didn't have to give me that interview, um, but he did. And then I got to interview Mark Richt, who is another just amazing man of faith. But here, these guys didn't compromise their faith for their career. And that to me was huge because they had all the attention in the world on them from
Mm-hmm.
August through the first of the year. And with Bobby Bowden, I mean, he had it on him. The spotlight was on him year round there in Tallahassee.
Mm-hmm.
And he never compromised who he was or what he believed for anything else. And I thought that was just the coolest thing in the world.
So, Florida State Devotions recently released. I forget the exact date, but it was like what, last week. How did you
November
manage
8th.
to? Yeah, how did you manage to get your name in there?
Well, it was more of guilting people, I guess you would say. So,
Tell us the
so
truth.
Dell and Bethany were writing this book, and I was on the phone with Bethany, and I told her, I said, "Hey, look, if y'all need a couple, or if y'all need some material, I interviewed Bowden and Rick and some of those guys back in the day. I'll give you some of that material." And she said, "Well, why don't you write some?" So
Mm.
she called Dale, and our whole group is like one big family, anyways. Um, I don't know how I fit into that yet, but somehow they have taken me in, and so Dell was on board, and the next thing you know, I was part of that project, and thankfully he didn't make me have to write anything about the Gators.
I was going to say this is actually a tandem or companion book
Yep.
released on the same day for that other team in Florida, the water lizards. What do you call them? Gators. Gators. Reptiles. Who would name a
Yeah.
football team after a dadgum reptile? Well, Maryland. Any others?
I've got to think about that, Coach, because I'm not really sure I can come up with one.
Yeah, how about the
Yeah,
caterpillars? Well, how about the mosquitoes? Let's go with insects. Or how about some bacteria? We can do that too.
yeah,
But, it was released at the same time. But
hmm
now I know Dell has shared, well, he's sharing it up the flagpole, that he will be in Tallahassee to do book signings on Black Friday. Get that.
yeah.
And I don't know if Bethany will be there or not. I don't know if you'll be there or not. I mean, you're supposed to be preaching the next day. I kind of doubt it, but were you considering it?
We're working on it. I was hoping to be able to, but there's one thing that's kind of hindering it at the moment, but I may be able to get that moved. And the hope is that I can be there. That will be my third trip to Florida in 7 weeks.
Hmm. Well,
Yeah.
I see in the chat room the TCU frogs.
The Horned Frogs.
What, what is a razorback? Where do they get some of this stuff? What exactly is a razorback?
I don't know. There was one that I found one time that was the Flying Squirrels. I
What
thought,
about
how cool is that one?
the Nittany lions? Now, I haven't Googled it, but why don't they just say lions? What exactly is a Nittany lion?
I'm really not sure.
Where do they come up with this stuff? It's really, the Miami Dolphins. I think Flipper. What a what a what a lame mascot, dolphin. How about
Yeah.
barracudas? Or the
Well,
cudas
hey, look, the
or
Demon Deacons.
sharks?
Have you seen the mascot for the Demon Deacons?
Yeah, yeah,
It's like
yeah,
a curmudgeony old man
yeah. With the big top hat.
with a big top hat, man.
Yeah, I've actually been to a Wake Forest game. Back when I used to take mental health breaks on the weekends.
Hmm.
I went all the way up there and watched the game. Me and about, I don't know, a couple thousand other people.
Hey, now we do good. We selling out a lot of times.
Well, it's great to see that people are getting together again, and some of the things that are American icons, such as college football. It's becoming a
Right.
thing again because for a
Yeah.
while it was rough going. Um, in the few minutes we got left, I noticed that over the weekend you had sort of a whirlwind series of events all held the same day, included but maybe not limited to a free yard sale, a fall festival, trunk or treat, and Operation Christmas Child Pack. What kind of a day was that for the Andy Clapp household?
It was unique. The free yard sale and the fall festival were in one day.
Mm-hmm.
The trunk or treat was 2 days after that one, and
Oh.
then the let's see, the OCC packing was this Saturday. So it's been over the course of about 2 weeks, but it has been ministry overload, and I can't lie, Coach. This is a sweet spot in life. I'm thankful to get to do what I do. It's incredible to me that God would take somebody like me and choose to. He chose me to be part of something bigger than me, and I'm thankful for that. And in all honesty, He's chosen all of us to be part of something bigger than what we are. The thing is that David wasn't going to, Daniel wasn't going to take out those lions on his own, but God put him in there, and now we got a story to tell. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego wasn't going to come through that fire alone, but they were put in there. And I think for us, when we look at the positioning that God puts us in, instead of always looking for somewhere else to be, sometimes we need to say, "Okay, God, how can I serve you where I am?"
Mm-hmm.
See, now last week was an amazing week for us because we were down in Florida during the hurricane. So I took pictures of the In the Eye of the Storm book on
Mm-hmm.
sandbags in front of our hotel in Florida because they were sandbagging the hotel, and we got out just in time. It was raining, and the wind was coming in. We were in Volusia County uh, at what 4 o'clock, trying to get out, and I think for me, I just look at all these things, and we got through that storm, we got home, and then we packed. Oh, I don't even know how many boxes we packed. We ended up with over 4,000 this year. I think it's 4,179 or something like that. And I look at it and go, okay, God, why do you trust me in that manner? Because I know me. I'm nothing
Yeah.
special.
Right.
I'm
You're
just
right.
me. Thank you, Coach. Um, but I'm just me, and here He does. He says, He lets us do this amazing work and do these amazing things because He is that good. And I preached this Sunday on the joy that can be found in service, because most people, some of the most miserable people you'll ever meet, are the very people who expect everybody to serve them.
Hmm.
But some of the most joyous people you'll ever meet may not have a dime in their bank account, but they're serving other people. And that was what I talked about Sunday, because it was amazing, and it was amazing how it worked out. We had just packed all the shoe boxes. We have a pantry at the end of the driveway,
Right.
and there was a note stuck in there this week, and this hasn't happened before. We fill it up 2, 3, 4 times a week, and
Mm-hmm.
somebody left a letter this week and said, "You know what? I didn't know where the next meal for my kids was coming from, and here it was."
Wow.
And I was telling the church, I said, "Don't miss."
Mm-hmm.
We always thank God for possession and for people,
Right.
but don't neglect to thank God for the possibilities that He opens up before you. Because when He throws open a door, it's meaning beyond measure, because it's Him. He gets the glory. It's His story, and we get to be a part of this amazingly huge movement of God that He's doing, not just here in our community, but throughout the world.
I gotta write that down. You will see that on a post. I won't tell you what it is yet. I will not attribute that to you. I'll just steal it outright, just like, So I'm not going to tell you what it is, so you'll just have to figure it out. Your church and the church that my wife and I attend are roughly about the same size. They're just small churches. And our pastor was, well, first of all, like you, was preaching from the book of John. I believe that was your text last Sunday. And but he was beaming with pride that this little church has some 200 Operation Christmas Child boxes to send out. And I didn't raise my hand, and say, I know somebody about the site, no, I didn't want to. But
Well, let's start somewhere. We started this. Oh goodness, I've been here 17 years, and we started this 17 years ago. I think it was 16 or 17 years ago, and the first year I think we had 90,
mm-hmm,
and the second year I think we had 110,
mm-hmm,
and the third year. And what happened was we got this lady she's on it. Now she's like the area director for Samaritan's Purse.
right,
And she goes to our church and she kind of spearheads it to where now it's not just a one time a year thing. We're doing this all year long.
mm-hmm,
So every month we're collecting different, we focus on certain things like notebooks in January and soap in February and things like that, to where it's become such a year-long mission that the numbers exponentially increase. And our goal every year is to increase by 10%. But I don't do math very well.
well, I'll
And
tell you that'll double it every 7.2 years.
yeah, well, the thing is too is I don't do math well sometimes. And the year after we did 2,500, we were supposed to do. We were saying we were going to do close to 3,000. I slipped up and said 4,000 that year, and whoop, here we go. It jumps, and the thing is that God has always provided enough that we've exceeded what we thought possible, and that's where we have to come back to. It's never what we do. We're called to be obedient. We're called to truly give what we have and to be obedient. But then to get wrapped up in what He's doing is amazing. I mentioned Sunday, and I hope everybody will take this one to heart. Service aligns our lives with Jesus, because we get out of alignment when we're trying to serve ourselves or when we're expecting others to serve us. What gets that car back into alignment is when we're in the attitude and the action of service, because that's who Jesus is, and that's who He was, and that's what He did. And too often we're conflating that or getting out of that. And it's no different than I had a car. My car like 4 weeks ago was out of line. I
Mm-hmm,
mean, and you could tell, you felt it. I mean, you drive and it's like, oh.
mm-hmm,
And I kept saying, well, I'll fix it tomorrow. I'll fix it tomorrow. I'll fix it tomorrow. And I got to Crystal's mom's house, her mom and dad's house, and got out of the car and I heard something.
mm-hmm,
You see, if you looked at the outside of that tire, nothing was wrong, but on the inside where it had been out of alignment, it had done rubbed a hole in it. It wasn't
mm-hmm.
fixed. See, if
Mm-hmm.
we keep our lives out of alignment with the Lord for too long, it starts to break down.
Mm-hmm.
But you can always align yourself with Jesus by having that servant heart and that attitude of service. And then we get to where we're supposed to go.
I could preach many. That's a good one. There's a lot of sermons. It's still a car.
Yep.
It's still a car.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But there's collateral damage if you get out of alignment. There are
Yep.
consequences, and you're not
Absolutely.
operating. There's so much you can. That's a good illustration. I'll steal that one too. Let me just write this. Okay. All right. Well, Andy, it's been It's always a wonderful time to spend with you, and this one has been no disappointment. And I hope whether we get to see you on the Thanksgiving weekend or not, I hope that you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and you are certainly welcome. I think Dell is staying with us Thanksgiving night.
Yeah.
But if you want to take over his stateroom, it can be made available to you if you'd like. Just give me a shout, and we'll after Dell's been in there, I don't know, we'll probably have to clean it up. I don't know. Might make a mess out of it, but we'll get things cleaned up and get you back to your church. Heck, you can go with it. You can go to our church Sunday.
I wish I could. I can't miss no more up here.
Well, Andy, we love you, brother. Thank you for sharing with us all the
Love you,
wonderful
Coach.
things, not only in your life, but in your church and the life of it. And it's certainly an example to be held up in high esteem. And we appreciate you sharing with us tonight.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, glad to do it. Isn't he wonderful, Andy Clapp? What a great guy. Just humble in spirit, yet so accomplished in ministry. But we can all do that. I've got some great notes here. His story is God's glory. We all have a story to tell. Our purpose here is to provide a platform for everyday Christians to share their walk with Christ, and it's an honor to do that. And we'll continue that at the bottom of the hour when Casper comes our way. Until then, I challenge you. Here's how the challenge works. Are you up to it? It's 2 questions. Here's the first one. What is the boldest thing that you have ever done for Jesus Christ? And second, how long ago was that? And the challenge is to never be satisfied with either answer.